Mr. Robert, is it Icsezen?
Is that Icsezen? Icsezen?
To be followed by Mr. Matthew Derwinski.
Pronounce that last name for us.
It's Icsezen.
Oh, that's what I came close. Okay.
Just like it looks.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name's Robert Icsezen. I'm a citizen who lives in Councilmember Travis's district. I was born and raised in Houston. I'm a lawyer, proud father of 4. I'm here today to request that this council take down from Sam Houston Park the monument entitled The Spirit of the Confederacy. When a society publicly displays a monument, that society chooses to celebrate the values expressed by that monument. So it's incumbent upon us as a community to look at our monuments and ensure that the values that they express are worthy of our aspirations as a people. So let's ask, what are the values expressed by the spirit of the Confederacy? Well, the monument that we're talking about here is comprised of a statue depicting a winged figure standing at attention, arms crossed over a large sword, as if protecting something. Quite honestly, this statue would not be out of place if standing over a swastika in Germany in some town in the 1930s. What value does this statue represent? Look no further than the inscription dedicating the monument, which reads as follows: "To all the heroes of the South who fought for the principles of states' rights." States' rights. What states' rights are we talking about here? We are talking about the right to tear this nation apart in order to preserve and proliferate a right to enslave and own as property an entire race of human beings. This is the spirit of the Confederacy. It is America's original sin that we fought a war to suppress. And as we saw in Charlottesville this weekend, it still exists today. I assert to you that it has no place in our community, and it certainly should not occupy a place of honor in this great city. So I implore this council, please remove the spirit of the Confederacy from our parks. Reject the spirit of the Confederacy.
Thank you, sir. Your time has
One second.
expired. Thank you.
Councilmember Christie.
Very good presentation, but my question is, and I like the mayor's offer to review our inventory, but if we took that down, would you want General Sam Houston next statue to come down?
Which statue are you speaking
Herman
about?
Park?
Well, it depends on the context.
Sir?
It would depend on how the context of the presentation is put forth.
Okay.
Councilmember Gallegos.
Thank you, Mayor. Going on the lines of Councilmember Christie, I hear what you're saying in regards to slavery, removing anything that identifies slavery or remove everything that identifies the Confederacy. Can you explain both, or just the Confederacy or slavery?
Well, I think it's important that, like I said, when we look at our statues, we ask ourselves what values they express. What are we honoring? What are we choosing to celebrate as a society? Because when we place them in these places of honor, which are far and few between, we make them special. We ask people to think about them.
And the reason why I'm asking, because if you're talking about removing the Confederacy, symbols of the Confederacy, okay, but if you're talking about removing symbols also of the slavery, then like Councilmember Christie mentioned, that's removing the statue of Sam Houston at Herman Park, because he was a slave owner. His slave wasn't referred to as a slave because Mexico at that time, Mexico and its territories did not recognize slavery. So the Texans referred to their slaves as servants. So Sam Houston's servant is buried in the East End at the Harrisburg-Jackson Cemetery. It says Sam Houston's servant, who escaped during the Civil War and returned back to escaped to Mexico during the Civil War and returned back to Texas, to Harrisburg, after the Civil War. So again, if you want to remove slavery, then that's removing Sam Houston's statue.
With respect, I did not ask for that. Okay. What I asked for was very specific, that the spirit of the Confederacy be removed. I fully acknowledge that monuments are nuanced in their existence and they're worthy of discussion. We have a speckled past. Many of our great leaders did things like that. They owned slaves. That's a terrible thing, and we need to think about how we depict them in our public spaces.
Yeah. Colonel Travis at the Alamo, he was a slave owner. Jim Bowie was a slave owner. Many of our Texas Revolutionary heroes that our downtown streets are named after were slave owners. So that's why we need to make that distinction when you're trying to cover up history. Is it Confederacy or is it slavery?
I'm not trying to cover up history. I'm saying that in our public spaces, we should not honor something like the spirit of the Confederacy. This statue does not depict Sam Houston or any specific individual.
Yeah,
this statue depicts an iconic, angelic figure that looks like it's protecting something, perhaps the ways of the South. The states' rights.
Well, that's why I'm trying to clarify,
because
because
the South fought for.
Yeah,
those states' rights are the rights to own slaves.
And
those
that's why
states'
I'm
rights are the rights to secede from our
One
United States.
second, one at a time.
And that's why I'm trying to clarify, because if it's getting rid of the Confederacy, I can understand that, because Sam Houston did not agree in secession from the Union. He was against the Confederacy, even though he was a slave owner. But he was against the Confederacy, and he was even called a traitor by Texans because of not wanting to secede from the Union. So that's why I'm trying to.
Well, I appreciate you bringing up that statue, and I think we should have a healthy discussion about every single one of our monuments. Absolutely. But what I am specifically asking for today is that we remove one particular statue from our public space. Thank you.
Okay. And again, let me just say that we are reviewing the inventory of all of our assets to determine what is appropriate and what is not. But the important thing is that as we move forward, that we recognize history is also what it is. You know, history has its good, history has its bad. But I do think it's important for us to review our inventory and then to make the most appropriate decision that's in the best interest of our city, and that does not glorify those things that we shouldn't be glorifying. But we do not, no one wants to erase history, okay? Just try to provide the proper context for the things that we do have. So with that, it's under review, and we'll do a deep dive.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.